Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today we're going to be taking a look at an updated Limbo slash Limbo Prime build slash how to play guide, because there was a few changes that came with, I believe it was the Sacrifice update, that kind of changed how Limbo is played a little bit, tiny bit, and basically how you build around them. Simply put, they halved, well, pretty much halved the duration of stasis, and made it so that yourself and your teammates can now shoot enemies well inside the big orb bubble that you create with your four. So it's more user friendly, and people aren't going to get pissed off as much whenever a Limbo is in the squad, because you can shoot while you're inside the bubble. You just can't shoot out of the bubble, if that makes any sense. So you can kill enemies that are frozen inside it, but you just can't fire outside of the bubble unless you're using the likes of an exalted weapon such as maybe Excalibur Sword or Misses Regulators or whatever, that type of thing, right? So any Warframe ability can go outside of it, but your bullets stay within the Rift or the Void type of thing. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the builds first. So I have one build for regular defense, I have another one for mobile defense, and then I have one for interception. It's worth noting that with all of these builds, you can drop Prime Flow for another duration mod or something if you like, or maybe even another range mod. It's entirely up to you, but these are just the builds that, in my opinion, work very well. You don't have to use Prime Flow. It's just personal preference, because I like having a buttload of energy reserved so then I can do pretty much whatever I want with all my abilities. But that being said, you can go ahead and change it if you like. So this is the defense build. I only run Stretch and Cunning Drift on here because it makes it so that the bubble is a pretty alright size. You know, it's enough to kind of cover the area of like a Orican defense target. So that's if you're playing in the Void. It's pretty big, and then you have a duration of, if we go ahead and cast it again, we got a duration of 91 seconds. So pretty awesome. I think it's a pretty hefty duration. And then if you go ahead and cast your stasis, you've got a duration of 45 seconds. So you're going to have to cast stasis pretty much twice for the duration of your big orb if you want enemies to be frozen within it. But it just kind of encourages a little bit of more proactive gameplay with your Limbo, because I think if they kept the original duration that Stasis already had, then he might be a tad overpowered in terms of defense, and they would run Limbo over Frost like almost, I would say maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 times, because Limbo's just very strong in the fact that he can freeze all the enemies. Frost has other things going for him, but the defense capabilities of Limbo and sort of his ability to revive teammates and stuff like that is a lot stronger than Frost's, at least in my opinion, in some circumstances. So, yeah, there is that. But next up, I have my mobile defense build. And this build is basically a build which opts for a smaller bubble. And basically, that's just so you don't piss off your teammates by, you know, locking enemies in the Void, because, you know, it's whatever. You don't really have to use this build anymore, but it's still a pretty good build if you just want to run around and kill enemies in the mobile defense and you just want to protect nothing but the mobile defense target. So what I'd recommend doing is mod for this range that I have right here. If you still want to use this build and you don't want to be affected by the Limbo effect, just go ahead and use this build. It's a buttload of duration, barely any range, so just mod for duration, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, you can drop Prime Flow for something like Constitution or something. Entirely up to you. I opted for efficiency just so I'm able to cast it when I like. So it's entirely down to you. One bubble should last long enough, but keep in mind that the size of the bubble is actually going to shrink as the duration kind of continues on, right? So you might want to cast another bubble on the defense target just to kind of refresh the size of the bubble. So it's entirely up to you if you want to mod for range or not in a mobile defense. You know, it's totally viable now. You know, it's totally viable because they made it so that yourself and your teammates can shoot other enemies in the Rift with you now as well. So in my opinion, it's fine to basically use the defense build, right? So this here build right here in a mobile defense if you so choose. But for people who just don't like being in the Rift in general, this is the build that I would run. You can swap Endurance Drift out for something else as well, maybe Cunning Drift or whatever. It's up to you if you want a mod for range, but this is the build that I like using because I don't always like that Limbo effect, right? So moving on to config C. This is my interception build, and this one is all about having a very large bubble with good duration, which can cover basically 2 interception points. So you go ahead, cast your 4, and then you cast your 2, and any enemy that walks inside here is going to be completely frozen for the duration of your stasis, and you're going to be locking down basically 2 interception points if you're playing on the likes of Xeni or something like that. So if you're not playing on Xeni, might be better off using the first build, so you can kind of keep your bubble concentrated on one area for a longer duration. But if you're playing a small interception tile set like Xeni, for example, this build can basically lock down an entire map and keep enemies frozen in their spawn, implying you're able to keep your stasis up, right? So let's just go ahead and test versus some heavy gunners here. If we go ahead and get rid of the chargers, and we type in heavy gunners like this, and we go ahead, choose 16. Okay, let's kill the enemies first, actually. Derp, there we go. Select all. These guys are level 110. We're going to unpause the AI. We're going to go ahead and simulate them. We're going to put our bubble in the middle of the map, so where we're aiming, we're going to press R2. Enemies are completely frozen, and that allows us to just kind of shoot at them or do whatever we like. You can no longer freeze your bullets, which is kind of a cool thing that Limbo had going for him, which is now removed, which is unfortunate. I wish they kept that in just for the Limbo player themselves, but made it so that your teammates can shoot while inside the rift, but unfortunately they completely removed it, so that's a feature that's gone. So no more cool Captura shots or anything like that. The 1 is still pretty meh, and I also think the 2, or not the 2, sorry, the 3 is still pretty meh, but keeping your stasis up and also keeping your 4 up, in my opinion, is pretty much essential. You can use Rift Surge if you like, but I don't know. It just, to me, it just doesn't really make any sense whenever really all you're gonna be doing is pressing your 4 and then hitting your 2 straight after, so you can keep those enemies frozen whenever you knock them down or in a CC effect or whatever. So you can just kind of lay into their head and make them really easy kills. So that is pretty much it. Limbo Prime is he's an upgrade compared to regular Limbo. If we go ahead and take a look at the stats and compare the two, you see that we have more armor, we have more energy, and we also have more shield, which is awesome. Go ahead and kill all these enemies. And he comes with, I believe it's 2V polarities? I forget what it is, but he has like 2V polarities or something, which I went ahead. I kept 1V polarity and formed out the other and opted for 3 dashes and 1D, which is kind of my ideal Limbo setup. The arcanes that you have don't really matter too much. Personally, if you had it, I would go for Arcane Energize. It's just kind of down to you, but you know, it's all personal preference with Limbo. Like, whatever you feel is ideal. You can either use your 1 or your first build as a very good defense build, or you can use your 2 if you don't like the Limbo effect at all and you just want to protect the target, or you can use your 4 to completely or not your 4, your third build to completely cover a map. That's like 3 derps in this video, holy shit. But yeah, Limbo's a pretty awesome looking frame. Limbo Prime, at least. I love this Plague Doctor hat. It's a 10-gen hat, and this is the Prime Access Cape, which is also really cool as well. So yeah, I'm going to be releasing videos about the Piranha Prime and the Streza Prime in the next 2 days, so look forward for that. And also a video going over the fashion frames. So this Syandana, also this Rift Sigil that I have on here, we'll be making a video for that as well. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for Limbo Prime. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button below. If you'll see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.